Emma Thompson stared at the flickering Christmas lights strung across her family's old Victorian house in Maplewood, a quaint suburb outside Chicago. The snow was falling in thick, lazy flakes, blanketing the driveway where her beat-up Honda sat, engine still ticking as it cooled. It was December 20th, and she was home for the holidays, earlier than planned, thanks to a layoff from her marketing job in the city. But that wasn't the real storm brewing. No, that was the email from her grandmother's lawyer she'd received just last week. "Emma dear," the message had read, "as per your grandmother's will, the family estate trust requires all beneficiaries to be married by age 30 to inherit. Your birthday is January 1st. We need proof by Christmas Eve." It was absurd, like something out of a bad rom-com. Grandma Edith had always been a traditionalist, raised in an era where family meant marriage and kids, but this clause felt like a cruel joke. Emma was 29, single, and now facing the loss of her share of the inheritance, a modest sum that could pay off her student loans and give her a fresh start after the job loss. Without it, she'd be scraping by in a cramped apartment, dodging calls from creditors. She sighed, her breath fogging the car window. Her parents, siblings, and extended family were all inside, probably sipping eggnog and debating the best way to decorate the tree. They'd expect her to show up with a smile, but how could she? The pressure had been building for years. "When are you settling down, Em?" from Aunt Carol, or "You work too hard, find a nice guy," from Mom. Now, it wasn't just nagging, it was a deadline. Grabbing her suitcase, Emma trudged up the shoveled path, the crunch of snow under her boots the only sound in the quiet neighborhood. As she reached the porch, her phone buzzed, a text from her best friend, Mia. "Any luck on that dating app? Fake hubby needed ASAP." Faced with tears of joy, Emma rolled her eyes. She'd half-jokingly posted on a local forum about needing a holiday date to appease family, but no bites. Who would agree to pretend to be married for a stranger? Inside, the house smelled of cinnamon and pine. Her mom, Linda, enveloped her in a hug. "Sweetie, you're early. Come meet everyone. Oh, and Cousin Sarah's engaged now. Ring's huge." Emma forced a grin, but her stomach twisted. The evening blurred into small talk, bad sweaters, and avoiding questions about her love life. By 10 p.m., she needed air. "Just going for a walk, Mom. Clear my head." The streets of Maplewood were a winter wonderland, lit by twinkling lights on every lawn. Emma wandered aimlessly, hands shoved in her coat pockets, until she reached the town square. The annual Christmas market was winding down, vendors packing up stalls of handmade ornaments and hot cocoa. She stopped at a bench, brushing off snow, and sat, staring at the massive tree in the center, its star glowing like a beacon. That's when she noticed him. A man in a tailored wool coat, pacing near a sleek black SUV parked curbside. He was tall, with tousled brown hair dusted with snow, and a jawline that could cut glass. He looked out of place, too polished for this sleepy town. He was on his phone, voice low but frustrated. "No, grandfather, I won't be bringing anyone. The deal's off if it's contingent on marriage." "That's archaic." He hung up, muttering under his breath, and kicked at a snowdrift. Emma didn't mean to eavesdrop, but his words hit too close. Before she could slip away, he turned, catching her eye. "Sorry, didn't see you there. Rough night." She hesitated, then shrugged. "You could say that. Family drama." He chuckled, a warm sound that cut through the cold. "Something like that. I'm Alex Harrington, visiting from New York." He extended a gloved hand. "Emma Thompson. Local, unfortunately." They shook, and she felt an unexpected spark, static from the wool, she told herself. Alex sat beside her, uninvited but not unwelcome. "Mind if I vent? My grandfather's the head of Harrington Enterprises, tech firm, billions in play. He's retiring, wants me to take over, but only if I'm settled. Says single CEOs are liabilities. Needs proof by New Year's, photos, a ring, the works." Emma's eyes widened. "Wait, seriously? My grandmother's will has the same crap. I need to be married by 30 or lose my inheritance. Birthday's in 2 weeks." Alex stared, then laughed, a genuine, belly-deep laugh. "What are the odds? 2 strangers, same problem, on a snowy bench in Nowheresville." They talked for an hour, the market emptying around them. Alex was 32, a workaholic who'd built apps that revolutionized e-commerce, but his personal life was a mess. Divorced young, no time for relationships. Emma shared her layoff, her dreams of starting her own marketing consultancy. It felt easy, natural, like they'd known each other forever. As the clock tower struck midnight, Alex stood, offering his hand. "This is crazy, but what if we helped each other? Pretend for the holidays. I'll be your husband for Christmas. You be my wife for the family photos. No strings, just business." Emma's heart raced. It was insane, risky, even. But staring into his earnest blue eyes, with snowflakes catching in his lashes, she felt a pull. "Deal," she whispered, shaking his hand again. "But we need ground rules." They exchanged numbers, agreeing to meet the next day to plan. As Alex drove off, Emma walked home, a mix of excitement and nerves bubbling inside. For the first time in weeks, Christmas didn't feel like a deadline, it felt like a beginning. The next morning dawned crisp and bright, the kind of winter day in Illinois where the sun made the snow sparkle like crushed diamonds. Emma woke early, her mind racing from the night before. Had she really agreed to fake marry a stranger? Alex Harrington, billionaire tech heir, New York sharp, and apparently desperate enough to play house in the suburbs. It sounded like the plot of a Hallmark movie gone rogue, but the stakes were real. For her, it was financial security. For him, control of a multi-billion-dollar company. They'd texted late into the night, setting a meet-up at Brew and Bean, the cozy coffee shop on Main Street that had been a Maplewood staple since the 90s. Emma arrived first, claiming a corner table by the window. She wore her favorite red sweater, the one that always got compliments, and jeans, trying to look casual but not desperate. Her hands fidgeted with the edge of a napkin as she rehearsed lines in her head. Alex walked in at exactly 10 a.m., snowflakes still clinging to the shoulders of his charcoal overcoat. He spotted her immediately, flashing that easy, disarming smile that had caught her off guard last night. He carried 2 to-go cups and a small paper bag. "Morning, fiancé," he said, sliding into the seat across from her and setting down a latte with extra foam and a cinnamon roll still warm from the oven. "Figured you'd need caffeine and sugar for this negotiation." Emma laughed despite herself. "You remembered the cinnamon roll detail from last night? Impressive. I'm good with details. Comes with the territory." He shrugged off his coat, revealing a navy cashmere sweater over a crisp white shirt, casual for him, probably. "So, ground rules. I wrote some down." He pulled out his phone and opened a notes app, tilting it so she could see. The list was surprisingly organized. No physical contact beyond what's necessary for show, hand-holding, arm around waist, quick cheek kiss if family pushes. Stick to the story. We met 6 months ago at a Chicago tech conference, dated quietly, got engaged last month. No posting on social media unless both approve. Separate rooms at all times. This ends December 26th. Christmas over, we break up amicably. Full disclosure. No exes or current flames who might complicate things. Emma read it twice, nodding slowly. Solid start. Add one more. We tell our families the truth eventually, after the holidays. No long-term lies. I don't want to hurt my mom. Fair. He typed it in. And for my side, grandfather's expecting dinner in New York on the 28th. You'll need to fly out with me for one night. Business class, all expenses paid. After that, we're done. Emma's stomach flipped at the thought of Manhattan, private jets, and boardroom patriarchs, but she pushed it down. Deal. But I need something tangible for my family. Proof. Like a ring. Alex reached into the paper bag and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it to reveal a simple but stunning solitaire diamond on a platinum band. Elegant, not flashy. Borrowed from my sister's collection. She collects vintage pieces. Size 6. Emma stared, mouth slightly open. How did you? Guessed from the way you held your coffee cup last night. Women with small hands tend to fidget less with larger mugs. He winked. Try it. She slipped it on. It fit perfectly, catching the light from the window and throwing tiny rainbows across the table. For a second, the pretense felt dangerously real. She looked up to find Alex watching her, something softer in his expression. Looks good, he said quietly. Natural. Emma cleared her throat. Okay, Mr. Harrington. Your turn. She pulled a plain gold band from her pocket, a simple men's wedding band she'd bought at a pawn shop that morning for $40. Not fancy, but it'll do for show. We can say we kept it low-key. He took it, sliding it onto his left ring finger without hesitation. Feels weird. Haven't worn one since, well, a long time. Divorce? She asked gently. Yeah. College, sweetheart. Lasted 2 years. She wanted the picket fence. I wanted the next startup. We both lost. He flexed his hand, staring at the ring. This feels different. Fake, but lighter. They spent the next hour fleshing out details, backstories, favorite foods, hers, deep dish pizza, his, anything with truffle oil, how they proposed, a quiet walk in Millennium Park, he said, under the bean. By the time their cups were empty, it felt almost believable. Emma glanced at her phone. 11:45. I should head back. Family brunch starts at noon, and they're already texting me. Alex stood with her. Want me to come? Break the ice. She hesitated. Not yet. Let me ease them into the idea that I'm seeing someone. Tonight's the big family dinner. Maybe then? You could surprise me by showing up. Classic grand entrance. I like it. He helped her with her coat, his fingers brushing her shoulders. Text me the address. I'll be there at 6. Suit. Sweater. Sweater's fine. We're not that formal. She paused at the door, snow swirling outside. Alex, thank you. For real. He looked down at her, blue eyes steady. We're in this together, Emma. Partners in crime. As she stepped into the cold, ring glinting on her finger, Emma felt a strange mix of nerves and thrill. The plan was in motion. But as she walked home, glancing back to see Alex watching her from the doorway, she wondered if the biggest risk wasn't the lie itself. It was how easy it felt to believe it. That evening, the Thompson house buzzed with holiday chaos. Kids running around with new toys, aunts arguing over stuffing recipes, the smell of roasting turkey filling every room. Emma helped set the table, her new ring hidden under a dish towel for now. She kept glancing at the clock. At 6:05, the doorbell rang. Her mom answered, then called out, Emma? There's a man here asking for you. Says he's your fiancé. The room went quiet. Emma's heart pounded as she walked to the door. There stood Alex, snow in his hair, holding a bottle of wine and a bouquet of white roses, looking every bit the charming surprise. Hi, everyone, he said with a warm smile. Sorry to crash. Emma didn't want to make a big deal, but I couldn't stay away for Christmas. Emma stepped forward, slipping her hand into his. Mom, Dad, this is Alex. My fiancé. The family erupted. Gasps, hugs, questions. Alex handled it like a pro, shaking hands, complimenting the decorations, even helping carve the turkey later. Under the table, his knee brushed hers once, a silent, we got this. As the night wore on, laughter filling the house, Emma caught Alex's eye across the room. He raised his glass in a subtle toast. For the first time in years, Christmas felt magical. But in the quiet moments, when he helped her clear plates, or when their fingers intertwined accidentally, Emma felt the line between pretend and possibility blur just a little more. Christmas Eve arrived with a fresh blanket of snow and the kind of quiet anticipation that only comes when the whole family is under one roof. The Thompson house glowed from every window, string lights twinkling along the eaves, a massive wreath on the front door, and the scent of gingerbread cookies wafting from the kitchen. Emma had barely slept. The ring on her finger felt heavier now, not from the diamond, but from the growing tangle of half-truths. Alex had texted at dawn, pick you up at 10? We need to rehearse the how we met story one more time. And I have a surprise. She'd replied with a thumbs-up emoji, too nervous for words. He arrived in the same black SUV, this time with snow tires and a festive red scarf looped around his neck, clearly an attempt to blend into small-town Christmas. Emma met him on the porch before anyone could spot them. You look festive, she said, eyeing the scarf. Borrowed from the hotel gift shop. Thought it might help sell the I'm one of you now vibe. He grinned, then pulled a small wrapped box from his coat pocket. For your mom. Hostess gift. Nothing crazy, just some fancy vanilla beans from a place in Brooklyn. Figured it fits the baker type. Emma took it, touched. You didn't have to. I wanted to. We're selling a story, right? Details matter. They walked the block to the town's annual Christmas Eve bonfire at the park, a tradition since Emma was a kid. Families gathered around crackling flames, kids roasting marshmallows, carolers in ugly sweaters belting out Silent Night. It was the perfect low-pressure place to test their act before the big family dinner that night. As they approached, heads turned. Maplewood wasn't used to strangers who looked like they'd stepped out of a GQ spread. Alex slipped his hand into hers, casual, warm, exactly the right amount of pressure. Emma's pulse jumped, but she didn't pull away. "Ready?" he murmured. "Ready." They joined the circle near the fire. A few of Emma's cousins spotted her first. You brought the mystery man," Cousin Jake called, waving a stick with a flaming marshmallow. "Introduce us." Emma smiled, squeezing Alex's hand. "Guys, this is Alex. Alex, my nosy family." Handshakes, hugs, and a barrage of questions followed. "Where are you from? What do you do? How'd you two meet?" Alex answered smoothly, sticking to the script they'd rehearsed. Tech conference in Chicago, coffee that turned into dinner, quiet engagement because they didn't want the spotlight. He even pulled out his phone to show a staged photo they'd taken that morning, him kissing her cheek under a string of market lights. It looked real. Too real. Emma's Aunt Carol, the family interrogator, narrowed her eyes. "So when's the wedding? Big or small?" "Small," they said in unison, then laughed. "Intimate," Alex added. "Maybe next summer. Somewhere quiet. Maybe the lake house up in Wisconsin." Emma shot him a look. They hadn't discussed that detail, but it fit perfectly. Her family had spent summers at Grandma Edith's old cabin on Lake Geneva. Mentioning it now felt like a gentle nod to the inheritance they were both fighting for. Later, as the crowd thinned and kids started heading home for Santa prep, Alex and Emma wandered to a quieter spot near the frozen pond. Someone had set up a small ice rink, and a few couples were gliding in lazy circles under floodlights. "Skates are over there," Alex said, nodding toward a rental shack. "Want to?" Emma raised an eyebrow. "You skate." "Played hockey in boarding school. I can manage not to fall on my face." They laced up, her in borrowed figure skates, him in hockey ones, and stepped onto the ice. Emma wobbled at first. It had been years. Alex steadied her with a hand at her waist, firm but gentle. "Easy," he said. "I've got you." They moved slowly at first, then found a rhythm. The cold bit at her cheeks, but his presence was warm, steady. For a few minutes, the pretense fell away. No script, no audience, just two people on ice, laughing when she nearly tripped and he caught her against his chest. "Sorry," she breathed, looking up at him. "Don't be." His voice was low. "This is nice." Their eyes held a beat too long. Then a kid zoomed past, breaking the moment. Emma pulled back, cheeks burning, not just from the cold. Back at the house that evening, the family dinner was in full swing. Turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and enough pie to feed an army. Alex charmed everyone, complimented her dad's woodworking, debated football with her brother, helped her mom refill wine glasses. When Grandma Edith's old photo albums came out, he leaned in, genuinely interested, asking about the black and white pictures of Edith and her late husband on their wedding day. "That's what she wanted for all of us," Emma's mom said quietly, touching the ring on Emma's finger. "Love like that. Commitment." Emma swallowed. "Yeah." Under the table, Alex's hand found hers again, this time not for show. He gave a small squeeze, a silent, "We're okay." She squeezed back. After dinner, as the family settled in for It's a Wonderful Life, Emma slipped outside to the back porch for air. Alex followed a minute later, 2 mugs of hot cocoa in hand. "Thought you might need a break from the spotlight," he said, handing her one. She took it, their fingers brushing. "You're really good at this." Years of boardroom schmoozing. He leaned against the railing, looking out at the snow-covered yard. But tonight, it didn't feel like work. Emma's heart thudded. "Alex." He turned to face her. "I know we said no strings. I know this is temporary. But I'm starting to wonder if maybe—" "Don't," she whispered, though her voice lacked conviction. We both have deadlines. Christmas is tomorrow. Then New York. Then, we go back to our lives. He nodded slowly, but his eyes didn't leave hers. Right. Back to reality. They stood in silence, steam rising from their mugs, the muffled sound of the movie playing inside. Snow began to fall again, soft, silent flakes that caught in his hair and on her lashes. Alex reached out, brushing a snowflake from her cheek with his thumb. The touch lingered. One more day, he said quietly. Let's make it count. Emma nodded, unable to speak. Because the truth was settling in like the snow around them, the line they'd drawn was disappearing, and neither of them seemed eager to redraw it. Tomorrow was Christmas. Tomorrow they'd open gifts, share toasts, play the perfect couple. And tomorrow night, when the house went quiet, Emma wasn't sure she'd still want the charade to end. Christmas morning broke with the soft gray light of a Midwest winter, the kind that makes everything feel hushed and sacred. Emma woke to the sound of her niece and nephew tearing into wrapping paper downstairs, their squeals echoing up the stairs. She lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling of her childhood bedroom, the diamond on her finger catching the faint glow from the window. Last night's almost moment on the porch lingered like the scent of pine needles, Alex's thumb on her cheek, the way his voice had dropped when he said, "One more day." She hadn't slept much after that. Downstairs, the living room was chaos in the best way. Torn paper everywhere, hot chocolate mugs on every surface, Bing Crosby crooning from the old stereo. Her parents were in the kitchen flipping pancakes, her dad wearing the ridiculous Santa hat he insisted on every year. Alex had stayed over, crashed on the pull-out couch in the den after too much eggnog and too many stories. He'd offered to get a hotel, but her mom wouldn't hear of it. Family stays with family, she'd said, and Emma hadn't corrected her. Emma patted down in flannel pajamas and fuzzy socks, hair in a messy bun. Alex was already there, kneeling on the floor helping her 6-year-old nephew assemble a Lego spaceship. He looked unfairly good in yesterday's sweater, sleeves pushed up, hair still sleep-rumpled. When he saw her, he smiled, slow, private, like they shared a secret the rest of the room didn't know. "Morning, sleepyhead," he said. "Santa was good to you?" She rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her grin. "He left me socks." "Thrilling." He stood, brushing Lego pieces off his knees, and handed her a mug of coffee. Black, 2 sugars, exactly how she liked it. "Figured you'd need this before the gift avalanche." Their fingers brushed as she took it. Neither pulled away quickly. The morning unfolded in that perfect, messy holiday rhythm. Gifts were opened. Her mom cried over the vanilla beans Alex had given her. Her dad clapped Alex on the back after unwrapping a set of premium woodworking chisels. "How'd you know I needed these?" "Lucky guess," Alex said with a wink at Emma. She gave Alex a small, wrapped package she'd picked up yesterday at the last minute. A vintage Chicago Cubs cap from a thrift shop on Main Street. Nothing expensive, but thoughtful. When he opened it, his face softened. "I haven't worn one of these since college," he said quietly. "Thanks, Em." The nickname slipped out naturally. No one else noticed, but it landed like a spark in her chest. By late morning, the kids were napping amid piles of new toys, and the adults settled around the tree with mimosas. Emma's mom pulled out Grandma Edith's old recipe box, flipping through yellowed cards for the traditional Christmas lunch. That's when the conversation turned, as it always did, to the will. "So," her mom said carefully, glancing at Emma's ring, "you two have talked about the timeline? The lawyer mentioned we need the marriage certificate by New Year's Eve for the trust to release the funds." Emma froze. Alex's hand found her knee under the blanket they were sharing on the couch. Steady, grounding. "We're working on it," Emma said. "Soon." Her dad cleared his throat. Edith was old school. She thought marriage meant stability. "But seeing you two," he looked between them, "I think she'd be happy. You look good together." Emma's throat tightened. Alex's thumb traced a small circle on her knee. Comfort, not performance. After lunch, ham, scalloped potatoes, too many rolls, everyone scattered. Kids to play, parents to nap. Emma slipped outside to the backyard, needing air. The snow had stopped, leaving the world pristine. She sat on the porch swing, wrapped in an old quilt, watching her breath cloud. Alex joined her a few minutes later, 2 fresh mugs of cocoa in hand. He sat beside her, close enough that their thighs touched. "You okay?" he asked. She exhaled. They believe us. Really believe us. And I hate lying to them. He nodded slowly. Me too. My grandfather called this morning. He's thrilled, said he's already drafting the succession papers. Wants us at the New York dinner day after tomorrow. Full family introduction. Emma stared at the snow-covered yard. So we keep going. Fly to New York, smile for the cameras, then, what? We break up, and I never see you again. Alex set his mug on the railing. That was the plan. Was, she echoed. He turned to face her fully. Emma, I've spent the last 3 days pretending to be in love with you. Except the pretending part is getting harder every hour. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Alex, I know the rules we set. No strings. Temporary. But last night on this same porch, when I almost kissed you, I didn't want to stop because it was part of the act. I wanted to stop because if I started, I wasn't sure I could pretend anymore. Snow began falling again. Light, dreamy flakes. Emma watched one land on his eyelash before melting. I'm scared, she admitted. What if this is just holiday magic? Proximity. Adrenaline from the lie. He reached for her hand, lacing their fingers together. The rings, hers sparkling, his plain gold, clicked softly. Then we find out. After New York. No deadlines, no families watching. Just us. Coffee in the city, walks in Central Park, bad takeout in my apartment. Real dates. If it fizzles, we walk away. No hard feelings. And if it doesn't, she whispered. He smiled, small, hopeful. Then maybe we stop pretending altogether. Emma looked at their joined hands, then up at him. The swing creaked as she leaned in, closing the distance. Their lips met, soft at first, tentative, then deeper as weeks of tension unraveled. His hand cupped her cheek, hers slid to the back of his neck. When they pulled apart, foreheads resting together, snow dusting their hair, neither spoke for a long moment. Merry Christmas, Alex, she said against his lips. Merry Christmas, Emma. Inside, someone turned up the music, have yourself a merry little Christmas, and laughter drifted through the open window. But out here, on the porch swing, the world had narrowed to just the two of them, the lie dissolving into something warmer, truer. Tomorrow they'd fly to New York. Tomorrow they'd face his world. But today they were simply together. The flight to New York was surreal. Emma had never flown business class before. Wide seats that reclined into beds, warm towels, champagne before takeoff. Alex sat beside her, laptop open at first, answering emails with a focused intensity she'd only glimpsed in snippets. But halfway through the 3-hour flight, he closed the screen, turned to her, and asked, nervous? A little, she admitted, twisting the ring on her finger. Your grandfather sounds intense. He is. Old school, expects perfection. But he's fair. And he already likes you, from the photos I sent. Alex reached over, covering her hand with his. We don't have to perform tonight. Just be us. The word hung between them, no longer pretend. They landed at JFK in the late afternoon, the city already glittering under a cold, clear sky. A black town car waited curbside, driver in a cap, holding a sign that simply read, Harrington. Emma slid into the leather seat beside Alex, watching the skyline rise as they crossed the bridge into Manhattan. The lights blurred past like a promise. His apartment was on the Upper East Side, a penthouse in a pre-war building with doormen who greeted him by name. The elevator opened directly into the foyer. High ceilings, dark wood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. It was elegant but lived in, books stacked on the coffee table, a half-finished puzzle on the dining table, a framed photo of a younger Alex with his sister at Yankee Stadium. Home sweet home, he said, shrugging off his coat. Make yourself comfortable. Dinner's not until 8. Emma wandered to the windows, pressing her palm to the cool glass. Snow flurries danced over the park below. This view is insane. He came up behind her, close enough that she felt his warmth. Better with company. His arms slipped around her waist, natural now, no hesitation. She leaned back against him, letting herself relax into the moment. They spent the next few hours getting ready. Emma had packed her best dress, a deep green velvet number she'd bought on sale last year, never expecting to wear it anywhere fancier than a friend's wedding. In Alex's bathroom, she touched up her makeup while he changed into a charcoal suit, no tie, collar open. When she stepped out, he stopped mid-cufflink. "Wow," he said softly. "You look incredible." She smoothed the fabric self-consciously. "It's just a dress. It's you in the dress." He stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Ready to meet the dragon?" The Harrington family dinner was at Le Bernardin. Private room, white tablecloths, waiters who moved like shadows. Grandfather Elias Harrington was exactly as Alex had described. Silver hair, sharp blue eyes, the same shade as Alex's, a voice that carried quiet authority. His sister, Claire, was there too, warm, quick-witted, already texting Emma under the table with heart emojis after their first handshake. Elias raised his glass after the appetizers. "To Alexander, and to Emma. I've waited years for him to bring someone home who looks at him the way you do." Emma's cheeks heated. She glanced at Alex. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite name. Pride, maybe, or something deeper. The conversation flowed easily. Elias asked about her work, her family, her grandmother's will. When she explained the inheritance clause, he chuckled. "Edith Thompson had spine. I like that. Marriage isn't a relic, it's a foundation. You two seem to have built one quickly." Alex cleared his throat. "We're taking our time, grandfather. But we're serious." Elias studied them both, then nodded. "Good. The papers are ready whenever you are. No rush, but don't dawdle." After dessert, Elias pulled Alex aside for a quiet word. Emma stepped out to the restaurant's terrace for air, the city humming below. Claire joined her, wrapping a borrowed shawl around her shoulders. "He's different with you," Claire said. "Softer. Happier. I haven't seen him like this since, well, ever really." Emma smiled faintly. "It's new. For both of us." Claire squeezed her arm. "Then hold on to it. Life's too short for half measures." Back inside, Alex found her near the coat check. "Grandfather's signing the succession tomorrow. He wants us at the office at 10. Quick ceremony, just family and lawyers. Nothing big." Emma's breath caught. "A ceremony? Small. Just vows, rings exchanged officially. Paperwork. But," he took her hands, "I don't want it to be pretend anymore." She searched his face. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I love you, Emma. Not the fake version. Not the holiday version. The real one. The one who eats cold pizza for breakfast, who laughs at my terrible puns, who makes me want to be better. I've spent years running from this, from feeling this much. I don't want to run anymore." Tears pricked her eyes. "I love you too. I think I have since that bench in Maplewood. But it's fast. Then we go slow after tonight. Dates. Trips. Moving in, if you want. Or you keep your apartment and we figure it out. No pressure. Just us, building something real." She nodded, throat tight. "Okay." He kissed her then, right there in the quiet hallway, soft and sure, like they'd done it 1,000 times. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "Tomorrow," he whispered. "We make it official. For real this time." They left the restaurant hand in hand, the city lights wrapping around them like a blessing. Back at the apartment, they didn't rush. They sat on the couch with a bottle of wine, talking until the early hours, about dreams, fears, the future. When they finally fell asleep, tangled together under the soft duvet, the snow outside had stopped, leaving the city quiet and new. Tomorrow wasn't the end of the charade. It was the beginning of everything else. The morning of December 28th felt like the first real day of something new. Sunlight poured through the penthouse windows, turning the snow-dusted treetops of Central Park gold. Emma woke slowly, Alex's arm draped across her waist, his steady breathing against her shoulder. For the first time since they'd met on that snowy bench, there was no deadline looming, no will to satisfy, no boardroom ultimatum. Just them. They dressed quietly. Emma chose a simple cream sweater dress she'd packed as a backup, soft wool that felt like a hug. Alex wore navy slacks and a light gray sweater, sleeves rolled to the elbows. No suits today. No performance. When they stepped into the elevator, he took her hand without thinking. Harrington Enterprises occupied the top 15 floors of a sleek glass tower on Fifth Avenue. The private conference room on the executive level had been transformed. A long mahogany table pushed aside, a small arch of white roses and evergreens set up near the windows, a notary and 2 lawyers waiting discreetly in the corner. Elias Harrington stood by the window in a charcoal suit, Claire beside him in a burgundy dress, both smiling as Alex and Emma entered. "No fanfare," Elias said, voice gruff but warm. "Just family. And promises." Alex squeezed Emma's hand. "Ready?" She nodded, heart full rather than racing. "Ready." They stepped under the arch together. No officiant in a robe, just Elias, who cleared his throat and began in the same tone he used to close billion-dollar deals, only softer now. "Alexander and Emma," he said, "you came to this moment through an unusual path. A convenient arrangement that became something more. Today isn't about papers or trusts or succession. It's about choosing each other. Again. For real." He looked at Alex first. "Alexander, do you take Emma to be your wife? To stand beside her in the easy days and the hard ones, to laugh with her, to listen when words fail, to build a life that honors both your hearts?" Alex turned to Emma, eyes steady and shining. "I do. Every day, I choose you." Elias nodded, then turned to her. "Emma, do you take Alexander to be your husband? To share the quiet mornings and the long nights, to challenge him when he needs it, to hold him when the world feels heavy, to love him fully, without reservation?" Emma's voice came out clear, even though tears blurred her vision. "I do. Completely." Claire handed them the rings, new ones, simple platinum bands they'd picked out together the day before at a small jeweler on Madison Avenue. No solitaire this time, just matching bands, clean and honest. Alex slid the ring onto Emma's finger first, repeating after Elias, "With this ring, I give you my promise, my loyalty, my heart. For all the days ahead." Emma did the same, her fingers trembling only slightly as she placed the band on his finger. "With this ring, I give you my trust, my laughter, my love. For whatever comes next." The notary stepped forward with the license and certificates. They signed, Emma Thompson Harrington, the name feeling strange and right all at once. Elias witnessed, then pulled them both into a rare, fierce hug. "Welcome to the family, Emma," he said against her hair. "And welcome back to yourself, Alexander." Claire produced champagne flutes and a small cake from a side table, vanilla with buttercream, nothing ostentatious. They toasted with quiet laughter, the city sprawling brilliant below them. No photographers, no press release. Just 5 people in a sunlit room, celebrating something real. Later that afternoon, they walked through Central Park. The paths were salted, the air sharp with cold. Hand in hand, they wandered past the Bethesda fountain, the mall lined with bare trees strung with white lights for the holidays. Neither spoke much at first, just the comfortable silence of 2 people who no longer needed to fill every moment with words. Near the boathouse, Alex stopped under a lamppost. "So," he said, "what now, Mrs. Harrington?" Emma smiled up at him. "We go home, your place, my apartment, doesn't matter yet. We figure out jobs and leases and whose coffee maker is better. We fight about thermostat settings and whose turn it is to do dishes. We plan a real wedding someday, small, by the lake maybe, with my family and yours. And we keep choosing each other. Every single day." He pulled her close, kissing her forehead, then her lips, slow, unhurried, the kind of kiss that says forever without needing to shout it. "Sounds like a plan," he murmured. That night, back in the penthouse, they ordered takeout, deep dish pizza shipped from a Chicago spot Alex had found online, and ate cross-legged on the living room floor, the skyline twinkling behind them. The TV played softly in the background, some old black-and-white Christmas movie neither was really watching. Emma leaned against his shoulder, pizza slice in hand. "You know, I still can't believe we started with a fake marriage on a snowy bench." Alex chuckled. "Best bad idea I ever had." She set the slice down and turned to face him fully. "Thank you for seeing me. Not the convenient version, the real one." He brushed a crumb from her lip with his thumb. "Thank you for staying. For believing this could be more." They kissed again, lazy, lingering, then curled up on the couch, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on her back. Outside, the ball would drop in Times Square soon, fireworks and cheers ringing in the new year. But here, in this quiet corner of the city, they didn't need the countdown. They'd already begun. As the clock struck midnight, Alex whispered against her hair, "Happy New Year, Emma." She smiled into his sweater. "Happy New Year, Alex." And somewhere between the last chime and the first kiss of the year, the pretense that had brought them together finally faded completely, replaced by something stronger, truer, and entirely their own.